Rain poured over the quiet street as people rushed past each other, umbrellas colliding, taxis honking. But amidst the chaos, a man stood frozen, tall, solitary, watching the world blur in motion. Then it happened. A young woman, soaked and trembling, burst through the crowd, tears streaking down her face. She ran straight into his arms, wrapped herself around him tightly, and whispered through sobs, "I finally found you." The man staggered slightly, arms still in the air, confused, stunned. "Do I know you?" he asked softly. Her eyes widened. "You don't remember?" And just like that, the story begins. A stranger, a claim, and a truth buried deeper than memory itself. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, share with someone who needs hope today. Subscribe our channel Kindness Talks for more real-life, inspired emotional stories. Liam Garrett had always been a man of quiet routines. After serving as a combat medic for the military, he'd returned to his hometown to escape noise, both outside and within. Now 32, he worked as a trauma counselor, helping others process what he barely could himself. His apartment was plain, his nights often silent except for jazz records and the occasional call from his sister. Life wasn't exciting, but it was stable and safe. That rainy Thursday, however, broke everything. He had just left the hospital, his mind heavy from a difficult session with a teenage patient. The rain was coming down in heavy sheets. People bumped into him as he walked along the curb, head slightly bowed. He paused at the edge of the park, waiting for the light to change. When it happened, she ran straight into him, hard, fast, and as if her soul had been searching. The woman clung to him tightly, as if afraid he might vanish. "I finally found you," she whispered, her voice full of exhaustion, relief, and something far deeper, something desperate. Liam didn't know how to react. She looked young, maybe 26, beautiful in a haunting kind of way. Eyes wide, lips trembling, clothes soaked through. I think you've mistaken me for someone else," he stammered. But she shook her head violently. "No, I'm not wrong. I saw your face in the dreams, in the hospital bed. You were there. Even when I was unconscious, you held my hand." Liam stood stunned. A crowd had started to gather. Feeling the weight of her collapse, he gently ushered her under a shop canopy. "What's your name?" he asked. "Sophia," she said, pulling back slightly, her voice hoarse. "Sophia Lane." She pulled something from her bag, a worn notebook filled with sketches. And there it was. His face. Pages and pages of it. Dozens of angles, pencil strokes filled with emotion. "I've drawn you for years," she whispered. "But I never knew your name. Until yesterday." Liam's heart pounded. He should have run. He should have called someone. But something inside him froze. Because she looked like someone he'd lost. Not a girlfriend. Not a wife. But a patient. "You were in a coma?" he asked softly. Sophia nodded. 6 years ago. After the accident. I was gone, but I saw you in the dark. You saved me. And when I woke up, they told me I was hallucinating. But I knew you were real. I searched hospitals, cities, until I found the old records. You were the medic. You were him." Liam staggered back. That year. Afghanistan. There had been a girl, barely breathing, under rubble. He had stayed with her for hours, holding her hand until evac arrived. But he'd never known her name. Never known if she'd lived. "How?" he began. But Sophia simply looked at him with grateful, unwavering eyes. "You were the light in the dark," she said. "I just needed to say thank you. I needed to find you." Liam felt something shift in him. Something he'd buried for years. He thought he'd helped her. But maybe she'd saved him too. That night, they sat at a diner. Talking. Slowly. Carefully. Sophia's life had been a mess of recovery, therapy, lost time. She was a painter now. Her sketchbook her therapy. And he was the face she'd drawn every day. By midnight, neither wanted to say goodbye. But just as Liam walked her to her cab, something strange happened. A man in a black coat was watching them from across the street. When Liam turned, the man disappeared. Something about it chilled him. Do you think someone's following you? Liam asked. Sophia hesitated. Maybe. I didn't tell you everything yet. The next morning, Liam couldn't focus. He replayed every second of the night before. Her voice, her drawings, her story. Something about Sophia's arrival felt more than coincidence. It felt like fate, and yet, something darker lurked beneath it. He called her. She answered after several rings. I was hoping you'd call, she said quietly. Want to meet again? He asked. She hesitated. Yes, but not in public. I need to tell you something. I should have told you last night. They met at a small art studio Sophia had rented. Paintings lined every wall. Some vibrant, some terrifying. In the center of it all was a canvas draped in cloth. I remembered something a few months ago, she said, avoiding his eyes. Something I buried. She lifted the cloth. It was a painting of a man, not Liam, but similar. Only, his eyes were cold. And standing behind him was a child, clutching a teddy bear. I think he's looking for me, she whispered. And I think he's my father. Liam blinked. Your father? Sophia nodded. I never knew him, but I had flashbacks during therapy. He was in the military. Disappeared before I was born. My mother never talked about him. But this man, he's been in my dreams too. And you think he's following you? Sophia nodded. He doesn't want me to find you. I think you remind me of something he doesn't want me to remember. Liam was silent. Then he told her his story. The war. The mission. The collapsed building. The girl he held on to for hours. He had been injured too, and evacuated before she woke up. Your name, he said, wasn't even recorded. I was Jane Doe for months, Sophia whispered. Maybe someone made sure it stayed that way. Just then, the lights flickered. A shadow moved outside the window. Liam instinctively moved in front of her. Whoever this man was, if he was real, he didn't want Sophia remembering. And Liam knew what it meant to fight for someone. I'm not leaving, he said. Not again. In the days that followed, their bond deepened. Not romantic. Not yet, but full of gravity. Liam helped her trace her past. Old photos, military files, classified redactions. They discovered her father was part of a rogue unit. One that vanished after being accused of war crimes. She had been collateral damage, hidden away, forgotten. And Liam? He was the only witness who could testify that she was even there. That's why she'd found him. That's why someone wanted to silence her. In the final scene, after a tense confrontation with the man tailing them, who was her father, now old and fractured with guilt, Sophia stood tall, trembling, but unafraid. You ran from the truth, she told him. But I didn't. And she looked at Liam. He helped me face it. The man broke down. Years of secrets collapsing in on him. Sophia turned to Liam and whispered, You were the stranger in my darkness. But you're not a stranger anymore. And Liam, for the first time in years, smiled with peace. Sometimes the people who rescue us don't even realize they saved our lives. And sometimes, a stranger knows your heart better than anyone ever has. When pain is buried deep, the only way to heal is to face it with someone who refuses to leave your side.